Thank you. Here is the tyre allocation. The hard, medium and soft rear tyres, all asymmetric in configuration. And some interesting news, as we suspected. We saw it in FP4 yesterday. Maverick Vinales on the factory Aprilia is coming to the grid despite these excessively high track temperatures with the soft rear tyre. He's going for a bit of a punt. He's going for a gamble with LCR Honda rider Alex Marquez, who had a big bruising crash yesterday in FP4. And some interesting news, as we suspected. We saw Maverick Vinales in FP4 yesterday. We'll just quickly run through the Malaysia Sparkos going medium front to the grid, medium rear, despite these excessively high track temperatures with a soft rear tyre. He's going for the riders. These are rear tyres, medium rear with LCR Honda rider Kelly Martinez, Bastianini, D'Antonio, and Luca Marini, and then further down we've got FP4 yesterday. We'll just quickly run through the Malaysia Sparkos going medium front to the grid, medium rear, despite these excessively high track temperatures with a soft rear tyre. He's going. These are rear tyres, medium rear with LCR Honda rider Kelly
air of trepidation, trying to limit any potential damage with the riders on that medium option potentially coming past them as they get it into its operating window. But over the course of the Grand Prix, it might well come back to them. One or two budding MotoGP riders there getting in some lean angle before the real main event gets underway in just under 20 minutes time. Trying to none of those are particularly worried about their with the riders on that medium choice potentially. That is the key story going into this Grand Prix. Operating window, but over the course of the Grand Prix, it might well come back to them.
Yeah, you've got to be silky smooth. It's all about
MotoGP riders there getting in some lean angle before the real main event gets underway.
Particularly on the right-hand side through turns 3, 4 and 9. That's where Fabio Quartararo was having his problems with wheel spin here on Friday. A bit like flat track, like Nice said. It could be a race of two halves. Do you dare push at the start and then maybe try and manage the tyres later? Let's go quickly pop back down onto the grid. I think Amy's got Max Biaggi with her. The tyre drop off here.
That's right, Matt, and we're literally standing next to the mic of Maverick Vinales. Matt, Laura, talk about Maverick Vinales' tyre choice, going with the softs in these excruciating temperatures. Bit of a left field choice. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's a rider choice, and there's nothing we can do. I mean, of course, he evaluates.
He knows everything about track condition, his bike, so I think it will not touch his confidence at all.
Thanks, lovely to chat to you, Max.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. We just saw some breathtaking shots of downtown Barcelona. A great city, of course, famous for its art, for its architecture, and its iconic football team, a supporter of which is this young man, Pol Espargaro. It's been another pretty tough weekend, though, hasn't it, for the 30-year-old? A crashing FP3 at turn 5 disrupted his rhythm. He hasn't finished within 15 seconds of the race winner since that opening night in Qatar. Great to see the fans back here, then, in Barcelona this weekend. A race day crowd of just over 60,000 fans who are going to be craving some shade and some shelter a little bit later on this afternoon, because it is scorching hot here today as the ambient temperature edges ever closer to the mid-30s.
I know their feeling, because I was here for the Formula 1 race a couple of weeks ago in one of those grandstands without any shade, in temperatures not too dissimilar to this, and it was rather on the warm side, let's put it that way. Everyone was scrambling for some shade when the bikes, or in the cars in that case, weren't on the track. Fabio Di Gianantonio keeping very cool ahead of this Grand Prix, starts in fifth position on the grid, one of a number of Ducati riders who will have high hopes going into this Grand Prix. So what is the Ducati feeling ahead of this Grand Prix? Let's get the pre-race thoughts of Davide Tardo. Let's see who's with Amy.
Davide, yesterday in qualifying, we saw Paco duke it out of that amazing lap time with a late Espargaro. Come race day is a different story. It's a completely different type of objective. What do you think is going to happen today? How is Paco feeling about conserving those tyres?
Very difficult race. It depends which tyre the competitors will have. The opponents are very strong. Fabio and Aleix shows a very good performance in the race pace, but I think that also some guys that on the back row choose the hard can have a good race in the end of the race.
Just a quick word on Jack Miller. I know that in the past one of your gripes is maybe not the right word, but one of the things you'd like to see more from him is managing that rear tyre. Do you think he's made some progress with that?
Yeah, it's a shame that Jack make a very good time on FP3 that can have put him in second row, but finally he couldn't achieve in Q2. But in the end, he need a very good start and try to fight since the beginning and manage the tyre in the end of the race.
Good luck to your riders.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Davide Tardo. See, Jack Miller unfortunately looks like he's got no future at Ducati beyond 2022. Lots of big rumours that he'll be announced imminently as a factory KTM rider next season. I know I've spoken nothing but glowing terms about his departing teammate, or soon to be departing teammate. They've had a really close bond, a close relationship since they first started working together back in 2019. So yeah, it does look like Jack Miller will be out of Ducati next year and moving over to KTM. As we look at Jorge Martin, in bad need of a top result, really, isn't it? Jorge Martin started the season off so well with 4 successive front row starts, including 2 pole positions, but since then it's been a bit bleak after his second place in Argentina behind Aleix Espargaro in really low grip conditions at Terma 3 or Hondo. Since then he's only had a best of 8 in the 5 Grand Prix since, and key surgery coming up tomorrow, as remind you, for Martin here in Barcelona to correct a nerve issue which has been sort of sending his right hand to sleep intermittently over the last couple of months or so.
So will we see more Sunday afternoon heroics from Brad Binder? We heard a week ago, going into the Grand Prix, Francesco Guidotti hoping for some Brad attack in the Grand Prix, and we certainly got it, didn't we, as he came through from way back on the grid. 16th to 7th 1 week ago for Brad Binder. Can he pull something similar out of the bag today? He starts down in 15th position on the grid, the highest KTM on the grid. He's got his teammate Miguel Oliveira just behind him, of course, who won this Grand Prix last year, but KTM will need a Maya miracle to pull off any kind of success here today.
Fabio Quartararo's road to MotoGP stardom last year started in many respects at this very Grand Prix in Moto2 back in 2018 when he was a surprise pole setter and race winner. That's how he got picked up by the Petronas Yamaha team for the 2019 World Championship. And since then, it's been nothing but a story of success for the current world champion. The 23 has been top 6 in all 3 previous MotoGP races here. A win from second back in 2020, but he was clinging on for dear life at the end of that Grand Prix when he hit major rear tyre problems. In particular, he almost got hunted down by the Suzukis of Joan Mir and Alex Rins. In fact, if there was one more lap, he probably would have lost that victory.
He would. Miguel Oliveira, one more lap, he could have lost his victory to Johan Zarco here last year in very similar circumstances. Miguel Oliveira's future is very much the topic of the day at the moment. There were some eagle-eyed journalists who saw him walking into the Gresini Ducati box yesterday evening with his father and manager, along with some key Ducati personnel. Miguel Oliveira heavily linked with a move to the Gresini Ducati team. He's been proposed a switch to the Tech 3 KTM squad from the factory team he currently occupies. That does not float Miguel's boat, so it looks as if his days at KTM are numbered.
Very shortly then we'll be getting the now traditional pre-race grid ceremony underway with the MotoGP trophy stand in action as well, with the featuring the race winning prize not for today and the prize that they're all chasing, the biggest prize in two-wheel motorsport, the trophy that hands over to the winner of the MotoGP World Championship. This man knows what it feels like to have that back in 2020, but Joan Mir's got so much work to do coming from down the grid. 17th place on the factory Suzuki GSX RR. 3 DNFs in the last 4 races for the 24-year-old Spaniard, very much in reset mode, just trying to rekindle some of the old magic which we know is in there. Problems stopping that Suzuki. As we'll take a pause now then for the pre-race ceremony. So the Spanish and Catalan anthems ring out here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. The E strings from the Geo Orchestra. Great way to kick off the pre-race ceremony. He'll be pulling the strings though in the 24-lap MotoGP race coming up very, very shortly. The countdown well and truly underway here for the Catalonia clash. We're about 6.5 minutes away from lights out here. Aleix Espargaro starting from pole position on the factory Aprilia, keeping as cool as he possibly can down there on the grid. There's Luca Marini. Great finishing record in MotoGP. He's not had a DNF so far in all of his 26 MotoGP starts. Hope that's not the commentator's curse on the Italian.
Chasing his best ever result in MotoGP. He was one position short of that last weekend. His best dry result 1 week ago for Luca Marini, having qualified on the front row of the grid. He stuck around at the front, finished just a few seconds off the winner. We thought on Friday we were seeing signs of the old Franco Morbidelli returning in MotoGP, the 2020 World Championship runner-up. It didn't quite pan out for him that way in qualifying yesterday. He was another of those riders who was so narrowly bumped out of qualifying 1 and missing out on a place in the top 2. Morbidelli goes from 18th position on the grid, but he does feel he's got better pace on used tyres. New tyres are perhaps where he's weakest, so Franco Morbidelli will be looking to move forward. He starts on the back of row 6.
So Aleix Espargaro with his special one-off helmet here this weekend in tribute to the medical team who treated his twin daughter Mia, born on this Grand Prix weekend 4 years ago in 2018. Some heart complications meant she had to have 2 major operations, and thanking the medical team that treated her in those difficult early moments of her life. Aleix Espargaro with a wonderful tribute helmet here this weekend. He'd love it, I'm sure, to pay the ultimate tribute to those medics from the top step of the podium here today in Barcelona. Andrea Dovizioso then, you've got to go a long way back and forth to finally with you, Yamaha R&F rider. He starts today's race from 19th place. Really struggling for grip on that Yamaha, not able to big bother on you. But Andrea Dovizioso, a former race winner here in Barcelona, of course, back in 2017. He starts from 19th.
Yeah, he hasn't been within 27 seconds of the race winner in any dry race yet in 2022. That gives you an idea of how much Andrea Dovizioso has been struggling. He tried a crazy setup on Friday to try to get to the bottom of his problems. And when you're doing that, you know that he's almost at a last resort on that Yamaha.
So it's been a fairy tale weekend so far for Aleix Espargaro. Will that fairy tale be completed in the next 45 minutes or so here in Barcelona? There's Stefan Bradl, of course. He'll be replacing Marc Marquez, while the 8-times world champion continues his long recovery from the latest in a sequence of right humerus operations. A bit further back as well, we've got Ducati test rider, the ultra-reliable and very, very fast Michele Pirro. He starts from 22nd on that gorgeous-looking Aruba-backed Ducati GP22. Some late tyre updates coming in here from Michelin. Apparently, Brad Binder, just having a quick look on the message.